and welcome to the Ivan Show. On this episode, I host a seasoned journalist. He has joined media industry for quite long and now is a chief assigning editor here at UBC. Is here to delve deeper in matters concerning social media, mainstream media. We want to strike a balance and look into these aspects. If indeed the public is still reverberating with social media vis-a-vis the mainstream media. Welcome to the show and thanks so much for allowing to speak to us, Mr. Sebastian Timothy.
Welcome. The pleasure is mine.
Thank you. Now that every time I enter newsroom, you assign me different stories, now I have gotten an advantage to assign you many questions here on the show. Great. So, for the starters, give us a brief background when you joined the media industry, how you found it, and the transition from analog to digital. How was it like when you joined the media industry?
Well, when I joined the media industry, that was way back in 2004. Well, we still had most of the media houses were still analog, much as it was the beginning of a transition from analog technology to digital technology. I know you're trying to ask the difference between social media and traditional media. At the time when I joined the media, well, Facebook had just come in 2004.
Yes.
And many of the media houses were using, in terms of spreading their information, was about using YouTube. You open up a website, then you log in onto you upload your stories, and then you have a YouTube website.
Yes.
So people could follow stories by YouTube, and then also WhatsApp, Facebook.
Yes.
You could have a link, a Facebook page linked to your YouTube, account. So that's how it was. Then later, Twitter came in. Twitter took the reporting to another level. Then later we started to see WhatsApp coming in, then Instagrams, then we have seen WeChat, we have seen TikTok, and many others. People keep on creating different social media platforms. But the issue here is what is traditional media? When you talk about traditional media, you're talking about print media, those are newspapers, you're talking about radio, you're talking about television. And then when you talk about social media, the question is, what are you talking about? Social media is split into two things. There's social. Social means how people interact,
Yes.
with others.
Yes.
Then media, when you add on media to make a complete statement of social media. Media in the context of social media means what platform do they use? People socializing, what platform do they use? Now that brings in the issue of Twitter, Facebook, WeChat, Instagram, to mention but a few. Now those are the platforms on which social media users use to spread their information. Now back to the traditional media. Why is it that to a certain extent social media is driving traditional media? It's because social media is a one line of communication. Traditional media,
Yes.
it's a one line communication. You don't get feedback immediately. While social media, it offers two lines of communication. You communicate and immediately you get feedback, reaction.
Yes.
Because you are on WhatsApp and you are putting an argument with someone and immediately is responding to you.
Yes.
Likewise on Twitter, Facebook, you receive feedback immediately. But with traditional media, that's not the case. You are broadcasting, but partly you don't know whom you are broadcasting to. Yeah? And often you don't get feedback immediately.
If I can come in. Those days, I used to watch Barry Francis here at UBC, and even other TV stations which existed then. But the public trust that was given to traditional media, the applied journalism as a course or as a profession it had, do you think it is still existing now?
The upper hand that traditional media still has over social media is the process of checks and balances, the process of scrutiny, the gatekeeping process. With the traditional media, you don't just put out things without checking facts, names of people, spellings, stuff like that. You need to look at the other side of the story with the traditional media. Unlike social media, there is no gatekeeping process. It's just on spot.
Yes.
Someone has said so and so, it goes on air. For them, so that's the difference. So why do people still regard traditional media or rely on traditional media? It's because of the gatekeeping process. By the time the story is out, it has all sides. It's balanced. There are no flaws of error, much as at times they do, but at a minimum rate. But with social media, out of 100%, you can only take 20% to be the gospel truth.
Mr. Sebasi, I want to draw your attention how people are generating their own TV stations, their own radio stations on social media. For example, on YouTube, when you hit a certain rate of viewers and maybe subscribers, you are paid by YouTube. People are creating. There are some people who are having following more than even mainstream media. For example, when you look at, if you follow sports, there is this journalist called Fabrizio Romano. The following he has, if he comes in Uganda, we can combine the following of all mainstream media and still he will defeat them. So, such a person has built public trust. Do you think people still see the incense of buying TVs, yet they can access everything on their phones?
Of course, the question will be, how do they build public trust? It all goes back to the principles of traditional media. You must be factual. In your reports, you must be fair. You must stick to all the gatekeeping processes. So, by the time Fabio gets onto his social media platform, he has already digested the facts, sieved through what's not right and what's not true. And that's what owners of YouTube, owners of Twitter, owners of Facebook want. That the moment you are factual, then you also bring business to them, as they also bring business to you.
Yes.
Because their business is driven by the viewership and the listenership, and that is coupled by now business business entities, companies, factories, because now let me say like Ivan Tukundane show, if it has about 1 million viewers, why shouldn't YouTube give you money? Because business companies would want to advertise their business with the people who have a huge following.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you'll see on your YouTube page adverts popping in. Now, owners of those adverts, they pay YouTube, and YouTube pays you.
Yes.
So that's how some of the people are talking about how they have come to be prominent. That's how they have come to be who they are, because of the huge number of people who are on social media platforms. Because people no longer, the world has been simplified, that when you have your smartphone, you can watch TV programs onto you can follow what's going on YouTube, what's going on Facebook, Twitter, as well as you yourself giving your reaction, your views on those platforms. So that's how most of the guys who have opened up YouTube account, TikTok account, are making hell of money than traditional media.
But do you think journalism as a career is still having the pride it used to have then?
You cannot run away from journalism, because it's the fourth estate. Without journalism, the world would be dead. Without the media, the world would be dead. So, much as people can say that social media has surpassed traditional media, but the question would be to what extent? Because for me, I believe that agendas that are often peddled on social media are set by traditional media. So, without traditional media, to a certain extent, even social media would not exist. Because often, traditional media sets the agenda for social media.
For social media.
Yeah.
A quick one. Why is Uganda still closing Facebook?
It's because I'm convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that it's because of the myopic politics that some of our leaders indulge themselves in. Some of the leaders we have failed to understand that the world has moved on. They still think that they can manage people like those traditional rulers in the old age. But they forget that with advanced technology, people either get information even before you get it as a leader. So to conceal their selfish agendas, either for them not to want to reason with the world, or either not wanting to be challenged, to hold the people in the avenue hours of darkness. That's what has got Uganda where it is today. That somebody thinks by closing Facebook, then he has denied Uganda foreign information. But they forget that Facebook operates on accounts, on servers. You may close the Ugandan server, but I can access Facebook using a Canadian server, so long as the international satellite is on. Uganda does not have the capability to control the international satellite.
As a senior journalist, do you think it's fair for Facebook? Do you think, in your view, as it's your opinion, do you think it's fair?
It's not fair. The only thing that government can do is to have the right people to counter people on Facebook. Because if I have said Mr. X has given wrong information, then you should have the right people to counter argue what I have uploaded, that the other one's information is wrong. Bring what you call the truth. And you know, one time Justice Mlenga made a ruling and still upheld that what you call the truth may not be the truth to me. So there is no clear yardstick of determining the truth. What is wrong may be the truth to me, and what is right, what is wrong to me may be the right information to you.
Actually, many religious leaders believe that the truth is between you and your God, your spiritual God. So I think that justice really, I also concur with her or him. I don't know whether it's a her or a him. A him. Okay. Now, majority of the society members believe that now, because of the invasion of social media, a lot of sensationalism has come up in our media industry. Journalists have resorted to politicking, have resorted to reporting biased information for the interests of the politicians that are using them. Because you find, because he knows Ivan is a journalist, he opens up a page and you start blackmailing or sugarcoating someone because you are earning. Where does that leave journalism as an industry?
Yes, that's the biggest challenge with the social media, because at the end of the day, you don't know whom you're arguing with. And you don't know the source of information of the someone whom you are arguing with. So it gives you an assignment, you who is countering social media, to do more research. What this person is talking about, is it true? Are they the facts? So because of the poor reading culture that we have in Uganda here, people do not want to do research. Yes, if Timothy has said ABCD, is it the reality? Are they the facts?
How true is that?
Yeah, how true is that? Do your background check, establish whether they are facts or false, then get back and challenge him. But people do not want to read. People do not want to research. They are driven by their personal emotions at times and act. But we cannot run away from social media. That's a new order.
Yes.
That's a new world order. Unless you want to be a dictator. But even when you're a dictator, you cannot do away with social media.
Yes. How do you advise the young journalists? Because at an interval of 3 weeks, I believe, in that newsroom, you receive new journalists, new interns. How can you inculcate discipline and professionalism in them? Because they come when they are already taken up with social media. They are fresh students from campus. They are very excited. So they just join the profession. Some of them are pushed by maybe the fame and popularity, but they no longer have those principles and passion. That's why you see them in 1 week they are asking for money. They have not done anything, but they are asking for money. So the passion and the pride of journalism is at risk. So how can we inculcate discipline and professionalism in those young people?
It's supposed to start from their media schools. Their lecturers, their tutors are supposed to tell them that journalism is not a bed of roses where you think that you're going to come and you make fortunes, then tomorrow you are rich. No. Journalism is a calling. Anyone who thinks that he's going to come and makes money in a year or in a month is deceiving himself. It's a process. First, you need to work hard for people to build trust in you. But if you are a journalist who's going to give inaccurate stories, your chances of making a breakthrough is very hard. And if you're a journalist who does not want to read, to do research, you think that you always get information from social media, then you are doomed. You'll either end the company that employs you in legal battles in court, and by the time you get to know either the company has closed or you, the journalist and the editor, you are in jail. So two things must be involved. Utilize your smartphone to do research. Google is on, and other search engines. You have been assigned to go and investigate the genesis of the M23 in the Congo, the genesis of the ADF in the Congo. How did the NRM neutralize the LRA, and how did the LRA end up in the Central African Republic? This information is on the net.
Yeah.
You just need to sit down, do research, utilize the search engines, read different websites, different authors and researchers, then have an informed position about a subject matter that you are going to work on. But if you are that kind of a journalist who's going to do copy and paste, you stand even more other risks of being charged of plagiarism. So that's the danger that we have, that also we still have a weak legal fraternity in Uganda that do not follow the media closely. Lawyers are making money from mistakes that journalists make or media houses make. When you get in Europe, journalists are ever in court. And that's why the media in Europe is now very, very, very careful on what they put out. They have established what they call the research departments, after witnessing that some journalists in the field often do not have time to research. So what they have done, many of the media houses in Europe, they have what they call the research department. That if I'm flying from Washington to the thick jungles of DRC to go and do a story about the M23 rebels, all I need to do is to communicate to the research department in Washington. And I tell them, can you get for me facts about the ADF or the M23 rebels? And in a flash, in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 10 or 20 minutes, I'll be having facts about the ADF. So you don't stretch or mull your brain so hard. But here, how many companies here, media companies that have the research department? Even the parliament itself that earns whooping sums of money MPs do not have research assistants here in Uganda. So that's why sometimes you see arguments of MPs are more of villagers fighting, quarreling in a village court.
That one I reported, he said that half of that parliament are not supposed to be MPs.
Yeah.
They don't want to read.
So the problem is deep. The problem is not limited to the media in Uganda. The problem is not limited to parliament in Uganda. Neither the problem is not limited to government structure. It's a cancer that is eating up structures of governance in Uganda. So what do we do as a country? The issue that we must invest in research. Once you do not invest in research, whether you are a media house, whether you are parliament, whether you are a factory, whether you are a university, you are doomed to churn out, with the media, you are doomed to churn out weak reports that may end you into trouble as a media company. As a factory, you are doomed to make substandard products that may either lead to the collapse of the business or even lead the company, the factory, into courts of law. As government, you will end up in courts and you will end up paying a lot of compensations. Court awards being given to people who have dragged the government to court and that have challenged it because of having civil servants who do not research, who give inaccurate information.
Before we look at winding up the discussion, investigators generally in the media, whether they are doing political investigation, whether they are doing security investigation, now the social media sometimes breaks news before the investigators get into field. And now you find the people, the journalists going for investigation, they are at risk. One of those days when a journalist could do an investigation, he finishes, the story airs, and then they come to know that he was doing an investigation. Now it's not possible.
What you are talking about is day two journalism. If there was, let me say a case in point, if President Museveni was passing out prison officers at Kololo airstrip at 10 in the morning, 10 a.m. in the morning, that will not be news in the evening, because many media houses who were running the function live will have watered down what would be a story. So the issue now, that takes you to what we call analytical pieces. You move from what has happened to in-depth analysis. Why, how many soldiers, how many prison officers were passed? Each prison officer is supposed to man how many prisoners? You get the point?
Yes.
Now, the story shifts from Museveni has passed.
Yes.
The story now gets to the crisis, the ratio. Each prison officer is supposed to man how many prisoners? The story now shifts to the welfare of prisoners, or prison officers. The story now gets on to the challenges the prison is facing, or these new cadets are going to face. The story, it goes as far as the quality of prison facilities that we have. Safety, health, hygiene of inmates. Now that's the trend. When the story of Museveni has passed 1,000 cadet officers, that is supposed to end in the lunchtime news. Evening must be different angles about the function.
All right.
So now, what kills that is because of social media. If it was like in the traditional media, where social media was not, you could maintain the angle. 7 has passed. ABCD.
Yes.
But with social media, the story is breaking as and when the man is doing the pass out.
Yes.
So by around 4 or 7 p.m., me who said in my living room, I no longer want to hear that shit. I want to hear now the analytical piece of it. The untold story behind the passing of those cadets by the president.
Yes. How do you think UCC can intervene in misuse of social media, balance and bring back the plight of mainstream media?
Sometimes UCC is not independent the way many people would perceive it to be. It's not independent. Sometimes it's driven by those who butter the bread that they feed on. So what they can only do is to follow what does the law say. What is their mandate? Yeah? Their limits. One, UCC should empower Uganda Broadcasting Council. That council must be empowered. One, no journalist should practice without a practicing certificate or license. Practicing license. So, if you have journalists in the field who claim to be journalists without practicing licenses, then you are killing the profession.
And there are many now.
And there are many. So, Uganda Broadcasting Council must step up its game to weed out. Do not issue out practicing licenses to journalists who are being churned from schools of journalism that are not accredited by the National Council of Higher Education. They're supposed to give the curriculum. And there are many schools of journalism here which are not accredited. So, what kind of teachers, what kind of lecturers, tutors who are teaching them? The quality of also lecturers and tutors is wanting in higher institutions of learning. Those who have been failures in the media industry are the ones running into lecturing. Those who have feared writing, reporting, are the ones running to be public relations manager, because the pressure is less. So, such a kind of people who have not practiced, they are the ones now lecturing people who are supposed to be journalists. Now you see the dilemma.
From the lecturer,
a half-baked person is trying to half-bake another person. So, garbage in, garbage out.
The chain continues.
The chain continues. So, and that has been the game. How I wish that being a lecturer, to take you on as a lecturer, it should not be about you having got a first-class degree. That's nonsense. That's bullshit. You must have practiced like it is in the legal profession. You must have practiced for a given number of years, so that when I'm standing in front of the students, I'm speaking from an informed point of view. with the field experience I'm giving the students. And you find somebody because he got a first class degree, he has not been tested in the field, and he's down on the chalkboard. So what kind of experience are you talking about?
And you find even the methods of assessment, students, they are very poor.
Here at UBC, I've seen some lecturers come to do field assessments of their students that they bring here. You speak to a lecturer, he's as deaf as the student. But he's a journalist with a master's degree. But because he has never practiced, he's into theoretical term thinking, and you are engaging him, you are talking, but you are not reasoning at the same.
You are not at the same level.
Same pace of reasoning. So you look at them and you see the dilemma that the students that they bring to us. How can a student spend 3 years or 4 years in the School of Journalism and comes out when he cannot put into context the 4 W's and H?
And I think that challenge in newsroom.
Yeah.
Majority of interns come when they are really.
But somebody is in his final year and he's with the lecturers, masters, PhD holders.
So where do you see the profession going as journalism in the coming years? Because every other day things are evolving. Where do you see it going? The future of journalism in Uganda is bright compared to all these East African countries. All what we need is the regulator to put the industry in order. This business of issuing out licenses to pastors, hooligans, cadres, to open up radio stations. People are not professionals in that area. Radio stations and TV industries. It's the birth of stupid journalism and stupid journalists that we are seeing in this country. Do you think that
because it's the regulator to move in? Because now you listen to radio stations and TV stations in the morning show, you are hearing drunkards shouting from an informed point of view. They are not talking but shouting. They are not educating people. They are not discussing issues that affect the people, but they are discussing who did what in the bar or in, they move away from issues and they are getting into shouting. And many of them, now there's that trend of getting comedians.
Yes. And
because government has left, the regulator has left the industry for unprofessional people to be given licenses to start radio stations, no terms and conditions given to them, no follow-up on who they employ, his education and practical skills, and that is what you are seeing, a marveled up media industry where you are seeing people speak things in the morning when you are driving, and he's a presenter, and you are like, oh God. You watch these TV stations in the night, people are dancing are nude.
That one is now it's almost.
And the regulator is there also, is in a slumber.
But do you think these things are politically influenced?
Of course, politics is there that in Uganda today, they are not looking for the right people to do the job, but somebody is looking for his friend to protect his interest, not interest of the profession. So that's the nonsense that you are seeing there. What business does the reverend has to do, or an engineer has to do, on a board of Uganda Broadcasting Council? You need media practitioners,
yes,
legends who are going to hold these journalists in accordance with the law and what the industry requires them to do. But they are putting a reverend, engineers, sijue teachers, sijue what. And you look at the entire panel, there is only like one journalist. What kind of broadcasting standards are we setting? What charge are you giving the Broadcasting Council to preside over the media industry? Because already people constituting the Broadcasting Council are not the right people to sit on that council.
They don't have the technical know-how.
Can you go at the law council and you find a journalist there on the law council?
No. At least for law profession and medical profession.
Can you go on the council of certified public accountants and you find a reverend there or a journalist or a lawyer? You will find professionals in that area, but advanced to higher levels of law or accountancy sitting on those councils.
I think it's the reason
but
why they
here,
are journalists, noisemakers.
But here, the Broadcasting Council has been vulgarized, one, by that person who appoints those people to the Broadcasting Council. Once you have garbage on the council, you expect garbage out.
Mr. Sebastimus, conclusion and summing up, you are giving your parting shots on the government, UCC, and every person responsible. Even advise those people who are joining media industry for fame, popularity, with no apparent reason to be in media industry, because they are distorting the information and they are making you people who fought for this profession, then they are making it look useless. So you give us your parting shots and
well, the only thing that government should recall practicing licenses from those people they gave them. At one time in US it happened. In the mid 70s, if you read the media in the US and in the United Kingdom, it almost happened. But what they made, what they call the conglomerates, there was need to buy what they were calling mergers. CNN bought many radio stations that had started in the 70s. BBC too. The issue was to fizzle out those who had the unprofessionalism that was cropping up in the 70s and early 80s. And now, you count of very few media houses and TV stations let me say in the context of the United States. When you look at the number of radio stations, the entire states that constitute the United States, there are not as many as the radio stations we have here in Uganda. So there was a merger. But if you are not capable, you have been assessed that you are hiring unprofessionals into the media industry. You are killing the media industry. You are compelled by the council to sell off your TV station or radio station to a capable person, because they can no longer allow you to proceed with the business. And that's what has made a quality broadcast in Europe, in Asia, and other countries. So, coming back here in Uganda, the regulator must do that. As we talk now, people are signing licenses for new radio stations and TV stations. As we talk now, they are issuing them out amidst a sea of failed TV stations and radio stations, but you are adding more burden onto the Ugandan masses. So, the regulator must style up. He must do what the law requires him to do. And also employers should do what is required of them by law. Why should you go and hire a comedian? Why should you bring a comedian? Because he knows how to shout?
He knows how to shout and is having a number of followers.
That does not add up, because we are here to educate the masses. Why can't you hire a professional journalist? Why can't you hire, you are fearing hiring professional, why can't you go, if you want presenters, why don't you go and the school of MDD in Makerere, and they give you some of their best? Because I do understand in lectures of music, dance, and drama, they have a whole chapter to do with television broadcast. Any person who has studied MDD, music, dance, and drama, he has studied television broadcast. There's a whole chapter. But you want me to go, you go and you pick someone from the street because he knows how to shout? So that's how government and the regulator have gone an extra mile to water down the media industry.
Yes, Mr. Sebastian Moses, thanks so much for allowing me to speak to us.
You're welcome.
We have been speaking with a veteran journalist, Mr. Sebastian Moses, and he has been giving us details of how social media has helped the mainstream media, and he was giving a broad view of how we can improve our media industry moving forward. UCC and regulators, please avoid giving licenses to pastors and engineers. Those are the words of my guest today. I am Ivan Tukundane, and this is The Ivan Show.
IT Media.
Empowering truth, inspiring change.